Hi, I'm Rebecca Balcarcel. Welcome to part 2 of Understanding to His Coy Mistress, a poem by Andrew Marvell. Now, we last looked at the first part of the poem out of 3 that basically says to the beloved, to the sweetheart, hey, if we had millions of years, then I could keep praising you and you could keep being shy and coy and keep saying no to my ideas about advancing this relationship. Now, in this next section, the speaker, which is a man talking to his sweetheart, he goes on to say, guess what? We don't have a million years. I can't spend 200 years just describing your eyes or whatever. We're going to have to move this thing along a little faster. So he says, but at my back, I always hear time's winged chariot hurrying near, and yonder all before us lie deserts of vast eternity. Thy beauty shall no more be found, nor in thy marble vault shall sound my echoing song. Then worms shall try that long-preserved virginity, and your quaint honor turn to dust, and into ashes all my lust. The grave's a fine and private place, but none, I think, do there embrace. He makes a good point. There's not a lot of hugging going on in the grave. So let's go over line by line. But at my back I always hear time's winged chariot. It's almost as if the chariot is going very quickly because it has wings, and it's almost as if it's chasing the speaker. Time is going by. It's very close. It's going by like a car zooms by, or in his case, like a wagon, like a chariot zooms by, almost as if it has wings. That's what time is like. So it's going by very fast. And yonder, all before us, so ahead of us in time, deserts of vast eternity. So eternity spans out before us, but it's like a desert because he considers that he and his sweetheart are not going to be there to enjoy all of that time. They're going to die, and so all of that time spreads out with no fertility, no life, because for the two of them, they won't be alive. So this desert of vast eternity. So time stretches out, it's going by fast, and then he says, thy beauty shall no more be found. So you're not going to stay beautiful because age is going to happen. Time is going to go by and you're going to age and your beauty will not last. But even beyond a lifetime, you won't last. So definitely your beauty will not be found, nor in thy marble vault, which means her tomb, where her body will lay, in there, nor shall sound my echoing song. So he's saying even the song I might sing to you, or this poem that I might write to you, my verses, my song to you, my wooing, won't echo in your tomb because you'll be dead. So I won't be able to praise you and do all those things we talked about in part 1 because you won't be here. That's not going to happen. Then he says, then worms shall try that long-preserved virginity. And this is a gross image. Of course, he's trying to make a dramatic point. So he says worms that decay the body, that eat the flesh of the dead corpse, the worms will be the ones to go inside of her. Her virginity may be intact when she dies, but the worms are going to get into her body even if a man never got into her body. I know this is kind of crude, but this is what he's saying. The worms will get in there. So never mind if nobody else gets in there. The worms will at this point. And you won't be a virgin in the sense that you're not invaded because the worms will come in. And your quaint honor turn to dust. So all of this honor, this reputation, this really just this preserving her virginity and staying an honorable woman, all of that will not matter anymore. It says it will turn to dust. And your quaint honor. Quaint for us means kind of old-fashioned and kind of cute, like a little Christmas village is quaint. admirable, but not as important as she thinks it is. So he's saying your honor is not as important as you think it is, because it will turn to dust by the time you die. Now, he says his lust is also going to turn into ashes, and into ashes all my lust. So that too will be gone, as if it were burned away, because time will reduce it to ashes. And we think of lust as being a fire. So often in poetry, the desire is portrayed as flame and fire, and now it'll just be ashes. So it'll be all gone, burned down to nothing. The grave's a fine and private place. All right, so there's some good things about the grave. It's a fine place. It's a private place. Plenty of privacy. You can be all alone. But none, I think, do there embrace. None, I think, embrace there. Nobody hugs and cuddles when they're in the grave or in a tomb. Not happening. You can see where he's going with this. First he says, look, if we had 1,000,000 years, I could praise you all year after year. But the fact is, we're going to be in a tomb or in a grave soon enough. Time is flying by on a winged chariot. So what should we do? And here's the third part. This is his therefore section. Since all of this is true, now therefore, while the youthful hue sits on thy skin like morning dew, and while thy willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fires, now let us sport us while we may. And now, like amorous birds of prey, rather at once our time devour, than languish in his slow chapped power. Let us roll all our strength and all our sweetness up into one ball, and tear our pleasures with rough strife through the iron gates of life. Thus, though we cannot make our sun stand still, yet we will make him run. All right, this is an energetic ending, and what he's asking for is an energetic event and decision on her part. He says, therefore, while the youthful hue, that means the rose in her cheek, you know, the skin, the glow of someone who's young, okay, while that youthful color is on your skin, like morning dew. So it's compared to the dew in the morning that is not lasting, right? The dew is very quickly gone in the morning. He says that's like youth on your skin and the color of youth. It's going to be gone soon. So now, while you're young, and while thy willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fires, okay, while your soul is transpiring, literally it means breathing. The air is going in and out. So while you're breathing, your soul is breathing at every pore with instant fires. And now here we have fire meaning desire, meaning passion, love, and possibly lust, even on her part. So every pore of her skin is breathing in and out the fire of love or lust or desire. He says, while that's happening, now let us sport us while we may. Sport. Let's enter into this physical event. And of course, he really is talking about sex. Now, is he proposing to her? Is he wanting to marry her? Not exactly. So, because of the morality of the time period, perhaps he is wanting something a little less than the full act, you know. But he probably intends some, you know, amorous encountering, some definitely cuddling, possibly making out, something like that. So he says, let us sport us while we may. And now, like amorous birds of prey, so like birds of prey who are amorous, that means in love or driven by love, while amorous birds of prey, and birds of prey are the birds that grab up little rodents and things. So a bird of prey would be something like an eagle or a hawk, a fairly energetic, large bird that's going to grab what it wants. And you can see how the associations we have, a bird of prey, you know, will bring that kind of power and the grabbing into our idea of what he's talking about here, what he wants to do, the relationship he wants, right here from her. So he says we should be like these amorous birds of prey. We should be powerful. We should grab what we want. Rather, instead, at once our time devour, then languish in his slow-chapped power. So we should rather do this this devouring of our time. We should be like the bird of prey that devours its meat. We should devour our time. We should suck the juice out of our time. We should make the most of each moment. Rather than what? Languish. That means just like hang out with no purpose, just be bored and decay. Languish in his slow-chapped power. In the mouth, the chap refers to mouth, the slow mouth of time. So we should be like birds of prey that grab what we want, not decay in the mouth of time, who is slowly kind of eating us. Time is eating away at our lives and at our energy, at our youth. Let's not waste it then. Let's grab it. Let us roll all our strength and all our sweetness up into one ball. So strength and sweetness. This is like the birds of prey in a sense. They have their strength, but he's adding now sweetness. Our strength and our sweetness, our passion and our love. Let's roll all our energy, everything into one ball and do what? Tear our pleasures with rough strife. All right, so pleasure is like something that we tear into, just like the birds of prey tear into their prey and eat their prey. I think of tearing into a present or something. He wants us to dive in through, or it really says thorough, the iron gates of life, but he means through the gates of life. So we should tear through the gates of life. Well, gates, openings, penetrating the opening. You see where I'm headed with this? He's talking about going into the gates. And this, I think, is an argument that he is, this phrase could support the idea that he is talking about sex itself and not just heavy petting or making out, but he wants to go through the gates of life. And what might that be except her anatomy, right? So let's go through the iron gates of life. Now there is a figurative reading of this too, where he's just saying, let's grab life. Let's go through the gates of life, meaning let's go cross the threshold into the next challenge, into the next step. And it wouldn't necessarily have to be literal sexual encounter, but let's together go into the next phase, through this threshold, across this threshold. All right, so through the iron gates of life. All right. Thus, so in this way, though we cannot make our sun stand still, we're not going to stop time. And this is a reference to a time when time did stop. There's a account in the Bible of a battle, and the Israelites are not finished winning the battle, and so they ask God to make the sun stand still and give them more time, and he does. The sun stops, and there's a longer time to finish the battle. So he's referring to that. He's saying, look, we can't do that. That was like this one-time miracle thing. We can't stop time, yet we will make him run. We will make the sun run. It's as if we're going to chase that chariot, even as it's whizzing by. Even if we can't stop time, we're going to make the most of it. And we'll make him run, because time flies by when you're having fun. The more you're enjoying yourself, the more time seems to fly even faster. Time goes by quickly. So we'll make time go by quickly by enjoying each other. Well, so there's the whole poem. Andrew Marvell has a really clever way of trying to convince this lady to to have sex with him. And it seems like an elaborate ploy, an elaborate argument. And maybe it's not so much the sexual aspect that comes out here as the playful language and the metaphors, these comparisons that he's making all the way through. It may be that this playful attitude makes us know that he's not intending to be too pressuring or not scolding his sweetheart, but kind of teasing her and suggesting, trying to jokingly say, but still say, let's let's move on. Let's move on to whatever the next level is. And maybe that is simply a kiss or a cuddle, but he has this elaborate case to make about why they should seize the day and make the most of the time they have. Well, thanks for joining me for both these videos, and gosh, we'll see what I do next. A lot of you have good ideas. I'll probably take something from a list that I'm compiling made up of viewer suggestions. So, see you next time.